Every great civilization in human history collapsed. The Roman Empire, the Ottoman Empire, the Ming Dynasty, the Weimar Republic. Every single one of them. And here is the extraordinary thing that almost nobody talks about. They all collapsed for exactly the same financial reason. Not because of military defeat. Not because of natural disaster. But because of a single financial decision that every one of them made at the peak of their power. A decision that felt completely rational in the moment. And that ultimately destroyed the purchasing power of ordinary people so completely that the social fabric holding those civilizations together simply disintegrated. Today we are going to show you that exact financial decision with real verified historical data. And the reason that same decision is being made again right now in 2026 at a scale that no civilization in human history has ever attempted before. The Roman Empire at its peak in approximately 100 AD generated approximately 25 to 30% of all global GDP, according to economic historian Angus Maddison. Its currency, the denarius, contained approximately 90% pure silver. It was trusted across the known world. Then Emperor Nero faced a financial crisis in approximately 64 AD. He needed money to fund military campaigns and rebuild Rome after the Great Fire. Instead of raising taxes, he made a different decision. He began reducing the silver content of the denarius. Slightly at first. From approximately 90% silver to approximately 75% silver. Almost invisible to ordinary Romans. But it was the beginning of the end. Over the next 200 years, successive emperors continued reducing the silver content. By approximately 260 AD, it contained less than 5% silver. The result was catastrophic inflation. Prices in Roman Egypt rose by approximately 15,000% between 100 AD and 300 AD, according to economic historian Roger Bagnall. The price of wheat rose from approximately 6 drachmas per artaba in 100 AD to approximately 120,000 drachmas by 334 AD. Ordinary Romans who had saved money their entire lives watched their savings become worthless. The Western Roman Empire officially collapsed in 476 AD. But its financial collapse had begun more than 400 years earlier with a single decision to reduce the silver content of a coin by 15%. The Weimar Republic of Germany provides the most dramatic and most recent example. After World War I, Germany owed war reparations of approximately 132 billion gold marks under the Treaty of Versailles. The German government faced an impossible financial situation. It owed more money than its economy could generate. And it made the same decision Rome had made before it. It began printing money. In 1919, the German mark exchanged at approximately 9 marks to $1. By 1922, it had fallen to approximately 400 marks to $1. Then in 1923, the collapse became complete and total. By November 1923, $1 bought approximately 4.2 trillion marks. A loaf of bread that had cost approximately 0.13 marks in 1914 cost approximately 428 billion marks in November 1923. Workers were paid twice daily and immediately rushed to spend their wages before they lost further value. Wheelbarrows of cash were required to buy basic groceries. The life savings of ordinary Germans were completely and permanently destroyed. A person who had carefully saved 100,000 marks over a lifetime of work found that by November 1923 that 100,000 marks would not buy a single loaf of bread. The social devastation caused by this financial collapse created the conditions that allowed Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party to rise to power a decade later. The financial collapse of the Weimar Republic did not just destroy an economy. It destroyed a society. Now here is the data that makes all of this historical information so urgently and so personally relevant to every ordinary person watching this video in 2026. The financial decision that destroyed Rome, that destroyed the Weimar Republic, is being made again right now. Global government debt has reached approximately $111 trillion, the highest level in recorded human history, up from approximately $20 trillion just 25 years ago. Since Nixon ended the gold standard in August 1971, the United States has increased its money supply from approximately $628 billion to over $21 trillion. An increase of approximately 3,244% in just 54 years. The United States is currently adding approximately $1 trillion to its national debt every 100 days. The interest payments alone on the United States national debt now exceed $1 trillion annually, making interest payments the single largest expenditure in the entire federal budget. Larger than defense spending. Larger than Social Security. Larger than healthcare. The US dollar has lost approximately 96% of its purchasing power since 1913. A product that cost $1 in 1913 costs approximately $30 today. Gold, which was fixed at $35 per ounce when Nixon ended the gold standard in 1971, now trades at over $4,300 per ounce in 2026. An increase of approximately 12,186%. The same increase in gold prices that occurred during the Roman currency debasement and during the Weimar hyperinflation. Because gold does not increase in value during currency debasement. It simply maintains its value while the currency being debased loses its purchase. Here is what history tells us happens next. First comes inflation. Global inflation reached its highest level in over 40 years in 2022, hitting an average of 8.8% across advanced economies according to the IMF. This is already happening. Second comes the erosion of ordinary people's savings. The average American savings account earned approximately 0.5 to 1.5% interest in 2023, while inflation ran at approximately 4 to 5%. Meaning ordinary Americans lost approximately 2.5 to 4.5% of their real purchasing power on every dollar in their savings account every single year. This is already happening. Third comes social instability as the wealth gap becomes impossible to ignore. The wealth gap between the top 1% and the bottom 50% is projected to reach its widest point in recorded history by 2030 according to the World Economic Forum. This is already happening. And fourth comes the eventual reckoning. History does not tell us exactly when that reckoning arrives. But it tells us with extraordinary consistency that it always does. The people who preserved their wealth through every civilization-ending currency debasement in history did not do so by keeping their savings in the currency being debased. They held assets that maintained their real value. Gold preserved the wealth of ordinary Romans through the denarius debasement. Gold preserved the wealth of ordinary Germans through the Weimar hyperinflation. Gold has already risen from approximately $300 per ounce in 2002 to over $4,300 per ounce in 2026. A gain of over 1,300% in just 24 years. Central banks around the world purchased approximately 1,037 tons of gold in 2023, the highest level of central bank gold buying in over 50 years. The same institutions creating the currency debasement are simultaneously buying the asset that has protected ordinary people from currency debasement throughout all of human history. Broad market index funds provide ordinary people with ownership stakes in companies whose revenues and asset values tend to rise alongside inflation, providing real value protection that cash savings accounts fundamentally cannot. Here is the single most important data point in this entire video. 96%. That is how much purchasing power the US dollar has lost since 1913. In just 113 years. The Roman denarius took approximately 250 years to lose most of its value. The Weimar mark took approximately 4 years. And the US dollar has taken approximately 113 years and counting. The financial decision that destroyed every great civilization in human history is being made again right now. At a global scale. With a global reserve currency. Affecting every ordinary person on the planet simultaneously. Every civilization that made this decision believed it was different, that its situation was unique, that the rules of financial history did not apply to it. None of them were right. The financial pattern is clear. The historical data is unambiguous. And the only question that remains is whether the ordinary people living through this moment in history will understand what is happening before it is too late to protect themselves. Or whether they will discover what currency debasement actually means for their financial lives only after their savings have already lost most of their real value. Just like the savings of ordinary Romans. And ordinary Germans did before them.